and this is something that I've wanted to bring up a bit because we all know like the framework, right? We all know the framework of the mental programming framework. One, establish the desire, um, find what those emotional anchors are. Like basically, your desire is what do you want? Finding what you want, um, and that's really that sounds very simple on the front end, but you would be amazed at the amount of times that I've asked women this, like, what do you want? Like, what is a clear like success to you? And it's the one thing that we all think we know, but when we're asked, we don't really have an answer for. So we have to kind of dig down and sometimes pry into, hey, what do I actually want? Like, what do I want to accomplish? And once we have that, like we have that desire set, that coordinates on the map, um, we anchor that with an emotional anchor. Like on those days where it sucks to hit calories and it sucks to, just everything sucks. You don't want to do anything, or the days that you're pulling that motivation from your emotional anchors, right? So if your anchor is your kids, or your anchor is like, this is this thing I want so bad, and it's like heart pounding, those are the days that we fall into that, like, hey, I'm going to anchor into this because that's going to propel me closer to where I want to be. Then we have the permission to pursue or pursuit. Sometimes we have to give ourselves permission and believe that we're worthy of having what we want before we even give ourselves the opportunity to pursue. And then, as always, on every single call, you'll hear me talk about CDE. We all know what CDE is basically consistent daily execution of hitting your calories, your protein, your steps, and your programming, right? But within this framework, there's something we've touched on maybe a little bit, but I want to go deep on this tonight, simply because there's an exercise that's attached to this we're probably not going to be able to complete on this call. So maybe look at it as homework. I would imagine homework is probably going to be essential for this exercise anyway. But I want to kind of give you an overview of it before we break it down. So like we talk about like what we want, and to some people that's easy. Like I want to say I want to lose 10 pounds, I want to lose 15 pounds, whatever. But most of the time we say something like, I just want to lose, I just want to lose 15 pounds. If I could just lose 15 pounds. And whenever we insert like just into like a desire, that shows that there's a like there is a desire, but we're actually relegating the desire that we have to what we feel we can accomplish by inserting that, right? So we think about, the experiences we want to have. Like what are some things, I think we've gone over this a little bit, but what are some things that you would like to experience in your life? Like this is something to think about, right? I like the analogy of, say, if I want a Rolex, like I could take, you could take a bunch of credit cards and slap down, 3 or 4 credit cards and nab a Rolex. But is that wise? And what is that actually doing other than, okay, I've got this thing. I finally got this thing. Oh my God, but my life is going to be awful for a few months while I'm trying to figure out how to pay this thing and live. I would much rather have a lifestyle that actually permits me to just purchase that and not worry about, the next 4 months that we definitely ain't going out to eat. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm thinking of. Like, this is the experience that I want to have, but how do we engineer that experience to be like the byproduct of what we desire? Right. So that's why we anchor into things like, okay, you want to rock a 2-piece on the beach at the vacation Okay, awesome. And then we start to make that more tangible by implementing what are you going to see? What are you going to smell? How are you going to feel? What are you going to wear? All that thing. Like we create that, but for us to be able to really experience that, the byproduct of that is, well, we've got to a place where we feel extremely comfortable in our own skin, and from that consistent daily execution, like we're seeing this reverse engineered from the experience to what takes place for that experience to be a byproduct of. Everyone tracking with me? Everyone good? Okay, so here's where it gets fun. And I'll just have everyone come off mute. Brooke, I think you're still on mute. Can you all hear me still? Okay. So what we place on the stage of our mind is a preview of coming attractions. And what does that mean? Like if there's something that we're constantly thinking about, those are the things that we focus on, right? And when we focus on, like, where we know that where focus goes, energy flows to that focus. So instead of, like, we reframe things as in, whenever we're working out, we'll say, we're not working out, like we're making muscles, right? So like we're skipping over, like, oh man, this is going to be drudgery, to this is what I want. Like these things are on the stage of our mind, right? So if you think about what are those things that we're placing on there, could be material, they could be experiences, they could be like the sky's the limit, right? But until we have set the stage, it's going to be pretty hard and kind of difficult to really go into that place of to really have that experience that we want to have. I guess is a good way to say that, right? So when you think about that, and we go into, like, what are those things that we're placing on the stage of our mind, like, and this is how we fill that stage up. So I'll say grab a notepad, a pen, just make a note here that we're going to challenge ourselves with this list of 50. What is the list of 50? So list one is going to be 50 material things that you want. Now, these things are for you, right? Although other people can enjoy them, they're specifically for you. So there's a reason we're doing this. How many people have heard, how many people know that whenever we talk about focus on what you want, and when you're in those moments of gratitude, like immerse yourself in your desire of, hey, I want this thing and this is going to be experience that I have. And then again, we're pulling in all the senses into that. Like that's when we immerse ourselves. But there's something like pretty powerful about writing this down, especially when there might be some people that watch this that rip through 50 things. Like this is a list of 50 things that I want to have for no reason. You don't have to have any reason. There's no justification in this list, right? There's no pass or fail. Is if you want it, put it on the list, right? So list one, 50 material things. List two is 50 experiences. Again, 50 experiences that you want to have. These could all be experiences that you had this year. They could probably be experiences that you want to have one day, say an experience that you'd like to have in 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, whatever that is. How many people believe they could actually sit down and just in one setting knock out a list of 50 things that they want and 50 things that they want to experience? Does that feel kind of difficult just on the front end, right? So I would imagine that the question that's in your mind now is, why are we doing this, right? And it's like it just goes back to that stage, right? We got that picture of the stage. If we don't have anything on the stage and where our mind is, again, unconscious or unconsciously, we're focused on things. Unconsciously, we're going through life. And we talked about last week that 5% of the decisions that we made, of all the decisions of one day, 5% of them are made from a conscious place. That means everything else we're doing is on autopilot. So what better way to get closer to what we want? And this could be across the board, right? Because this comes from designing what we want, creating an experience for that thing to be a byproduct of the experience that we have. And whenever we have that clearly defined, again, this is like success 2.0. Whenever we have that clearly defined, and we have that set on stage, then that's where our unconscious just lives and is what we're constantly kind of thinking about under the water, right? So list one is things, material things only for you. And that's going to be hard. That is definitely going to be hard, especially for a mother. It is going to be hard to write your 50 things down specifically for you. Again, other people can enjoy, but they're specifically for you. Experiences, I don't think are that hard, but it's definitely something that's going to stretch you into, like, do I really want this? For what reason do I want this? And it's going to stretch you in what you deserve, what you believe you deserve. And I'll just tell you that for both these lists, what you deserve is infinite, right? What anyone deserves is whatever they want. There's no level that needs to be attained on earth to deserve anything, right? So this list is for you to fill your stage up. And I'll give you a few examples. Like, I've done this. I have a list of 100 things, 100 things and 100 experiences. And the list of 100 was kind of difficult. It took me some time, but the coolest things happened after I had this list. One, I could go back to it and look at it and just kind of like this is the list that I use to create my morning, basically like a flip book on TikTok. So I've got an album there that is just, hey, these are the things I want, these experiences I want to have. I get on it and just scroll through that. Like, that's the first thing that I want to see to get my mind right where I want it to be, right? Again, it's just focusing on what you want.